Disney Cruise Line.
Oh.
Underrated or overrated?
Here we go. That is a whopper.
This is a whopper of one. This is probably the biggest one. You know, Disney Cruise Line is not cheap. It's probably one of the most, it's not probably, it's one of the most expensive cruises you can go on.
Yeah.
That being said,
I know. I want you to answer this. Like, I'm curious of your answer.
that being said, the thing that Disney Cruise Line gives you is quality of experience. I think the experience you get on a Disney Cruise Line is matched by none.
Right.
Food is relatively good.
I thought, well, I've heard some things, and I've heard that other cruise lines aren't, recently, like we've heard that the quality isn't as great. But Disney, you never hear that they have bad food.
Never. The experience is Castaway Cay is unmatched. It's a great place. And even for someone who's like me, who's not super into relaxing, I thought...
You're not people-y?
I thought Castaway Cay was amazing.
We should have just left you there.
Our room was 5 people in one room, which I thought was going to be cramped, was more spacious than I thought.
Low expectations.
But it is expensive.
Right.
So I don't know if it can be underrated because of the price.
Right.
But I think overall for a cruise itself, if I was going to go on another cruise, I would say Disney Cruise Line, slightly underrated.
I think in the sense of also we know a bunch of people that actually don't have children. And that they've never been on a Disney cruise because they thought it was mainly for kids and that they were going to... We actually got asked, well, is it heavily Mickey and Minnie themed? And we said, no, you really can just go on this cruise. So that's why I think it's underrated in that sense.
That's a great point. You know what? I'm changing my answer. Properly rated for families.
Okay.
Underrated for adults without kids.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, I think most people, if you don't have kids, they just disregard Disney Cruise Line.
They're like, that's it. It's too many princesses.
It's not that though. Like there is that incorporated into it, but it's not in your face.
It's like splashed ever so delicately. It's almost like when you're staying at the Grand Floridian Resort when you're in Walt Disney World. It has that elegance to it, and it's not overly kind of in your face with any kind of characters.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like the Grand Floridian. I feel comfortable on the Disney Cruise Line.
Oh.
I don't know if I feel comfortable inside the Grand Floridian.
Because the cruise line, it's acceptable to walk around in your bathing suit.
Which I did quite a bit.
And you're not really supposed to do that in the halls in the Grand Floridian. So that's where you feel uncomfortable. All right, where are we with the would you
Next
rathers?
question. All right, I'm going to pull out my phone here because...
No, not would you rathers.
Overrated, underrated.
That's why.
Would you rathers next week?
That's good. That's right.
All right, here's another one. And this is a touchy subject because this is something that people either love or don't love.
I don't know if I love you having control.
Oh, I got a lot of control. If you're watching the video right here on YouTube, I got full control.
You have full control.
I have them in my phone right here. All right,
Okay.
Epcot Festivals.
Epcot Festivals.
Overrated or underrated?
The festivals of itself, I think, are underrated. I can't go to Epcot without a festival. I decided the other day.
Why did you decide that all of a sudden?
I really think that the festivals add this whole nother layer to Epcot that it's missing throughout the year when it's not happening. Like Epcot's gone through a lot. It's still transforming as we speak. And I do think that when there's no festival going on, to me, I feel like something's missing, but that's why I love them.
All right, so I'm going to break them down by festival.
I don't know if I explained that very well.
You did. You did a good job.
Okay.
It gives you a little bit, it brings Epcot into a more in-depth experience.
Especially I think the art festival.
All right, so I'm going to break them down for me. Food and wine, vastly overrated. Vastly. All the other festivals,
They're rowdy. There was actually something
underrated.
Okay. Speaking of, I know why you think that the food and wine is overrated is because it's rowdy, but there was something recently on the media where there was some thing happening with some adults that got a little too far ahead of themselves with some of the drinkity drinks, and they had to get escorted out, and it was kind of crazy.
Well, here's the reason I say that.
Yeah.
There used to be the Food and Wine Festival was specifically for food and wine. And I feel like lately they've brought some of those booths into the other festivals so you can get a little bit of the feel of food and wine without having to go to the Food and Wine.
Okay.
So that's why I say food and wine, overrated. I'm never going again.
Okay.
All the other festivals at Epcot, underrated. I would enjoy my time with those.
Fine. That's fine. This is where we kind of butt heads a lot because like I said, I love going to Epcot, especially when there's any type of festival. I like the Food and Wine Festival. I mean, I get it. Like, you don't necessarily love the theme, the crowd, maybe on like a Saturday night at when you're with the kids.
Yeah.
Gets a little busy, kind of crazy. But all in all, I like it.
I'm out.
Okay.
Next one. Now, this was asked quite a bit, and I'm not really sure why this particular attraction was something that people asked us about a lot. But it's weird that it's on here like multiple times.
Okay.
Mickey's Philhar Magic.
Oh.
Underrated or overrated?
I do love how they added some Coco scenes in there. That was a nice surprise that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, what's up with people not liking anything change? Like, I don't mind if they change some things. Like, why do people not love change at all?
Why, you heard that? Some people
People
didn't
were
like
complaining about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't hear any of that.
I thought it was subtle and it didn't take over. It didn't change the experience at all. It added to it.
Yeah, no. So I think Philhar Magic can it be underrated?
Yes, because the wait time's always low.
That's true. And
like Peter Pan, way overrated. Mickey's Philhar Magic, I think it's underrated because it's something that people just skip over.
To me, we always go in, I think probably, let's be honest, usually it's 95 degrees and we're looking for an escape out of
It's 95 degrees and it's a 15-minute wait.
Exactly. Like, why would you not go in? And when I'm in there, even though I'm kind of feeling guilty of having that feeling, it's like a guilty feeling I get that I'm like, I feel like I'm cheating because it's like I'm only going in because it's hot out, and I need a break. But that being said, while I'm watching the show, I find myself always having a great time, no matter how many times I've seen it.
Yeah, I agree. Underrated. The only thing that's overrated about it is making me move all the way to the end of this thing so people can sit next to each other and then looking around and seeing half the theater empty.
That is, I get that. That part's a little uncomfortable. That's why you try to catch it where you're going in right as they're
like I go to the movies with my friends and I skip a seat.
Yeah.
I don't want to not skip a seat with strangers.
Totally, I understand that.
Only old people will understand that reference because now all the movie theaters have those reclining seats that you have to get a pre-ticket to. But back in the day when we went to the movies and you go with your friends, there was always that buffer seat in between you.
Yeah, there was no kind of personal space back in the day unless you got that.
So you think it's underrated as well?
Yes.
Good. I don't know why that was asked on here, but it was asked quite a bit.
It was quite a bit?
Yeah, it was like 5 or 6 times. More than any other attraction, like specifically.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I think the visuals are amazing. The music, the visuals. Again, I've seen it probably 100 times, and I'm not going in because I'm super excited to see it again. I'm truthfully saying sometimes it's just to beat the heat, but I'm always finding I have a smile on my face by mid-show.
100%.
Okay.
I'm with you till the end of the line.
At the end, it's so fun when. Never mind. Go ahead.
Next one.
Now,
this is something that is on here quite a bit as well. Not as much as Mickey's Philhar Magic. Peter Pan.
Which Peter Pan? Because I think it matters if it's Peter Pan Disneyland or Peter Pan Walt Disney World.
Let's say Walt Disney World.
Okay.
This is from Mickey Curls 13.
Okay.
On Instagram.
I love it.
There you go.
Well, I think everybody knows your answer.
Overrated. It says, Peter Pan is overrated. I'll die on this hill. I'm with you, buddy. I'm on the top of the hill. I'm waiting for you.
He's with you to the end of the line.
Cute. Not worth the wait. Overrated.
Yeah. So we have a hard time as a whole in my family because I always want to go on. But I guess I'm okay with skipping the one in Walt Disney World. So I will say maybe the Walt Disney World one is overrated. Because to me, it's more about the nostalgia that I think that it makes it so cute. And so you get that more in Disneyland.
I get that. And listen, when I'm on it, when I go on Peter Pan, when I eventually get to go on it, I have an enjoyable time. I like the attraction. I like the ride.
You're flying.
I just don't like the wait.
Like that?
I can't wait 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Or 120, which it usually is. It's just so long.
I wish it was a little bit longer. So I compare.
Wait, are you crazy?
No, the attraction.
Oh.
I often when I go to Peter Pan, I often compare it to, out of all attractions in the world, I often compare it to E.T. in Universal.
I know why, because you kind of get that same sense of flying over things.
Yeah.
It's a similar experience. Obviously, in Peter Pan, you're not on a bicycle like you are on an E.T., which is the most unique experience of any attraction, being on a bike flying over the forest.
I think both. Being on a bike, I think, is exceptional, but also being on a boat and flying through the city. I think that's really cool. But I guess where I can see people saying it's overrated is the fact that you're right. It is a really long wait time, but then also when you're on, it's a really short ride. So when you think about E.T.,
It is longer.
E.T. also has that nostalgia. E.T. has that cheesiness, if you will. It's a little corny, but it seems better because it's longer.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, we've been many times. I've never seen ET more than 20 minutes wait.
30 maybe?
Maybe 25 tops.
It's a better wait because it's bigger. They had more room.
It's a cool forest walkthrough too. ET.
Yeah.
ET underrated. We'll just throw that out there. Might as well because we're talking about it here on the podcast.
Talking about it so much.
All right, so yeah, I'm with you. So you're saying it's overrated?
Yep.
Okay, we're all in the same.
But
right, so,
Disneyland, not.
Okay.
Sorry.
So turn around. We're in the studio here recording this on YouTube. Connie, turn around. You have one hanging on the wall back there.
I can see it. Wait. Yeah.
Somebody asked what that was actually in our Patreon group. What is that thing behind you, the Oogie Boogie?
That's my Oogie Boogie popcorn bucket that I love so dearly. It was sent to us by special friends, and I adore it so much. So
That's one of the questions.
Oh, that's it?
Themed popcorn buckets.
Oh.
Overrated or underrated?
Clearly underrated.
I think they're cool to have, especially if you like the character. Now, going overboard, like they did with the Figment popcorn bucket and getting 10 of them to resell on eBay, don't do that.
No, but even without doing that, like just going and to wait as long as you are going to wait to get into a really great attraction to get up. I don't know if they're that fantastic, but they're really fun to have.
Listen, we got that popcorn bucket and it's on the back of the wall here and you get to like put a smile on your face and look at it every once in a while. So you can't do that with a paper popcorn bucket.
That's true. Can't. And I mean, you
can, but it'd be weird.
For the ones that you really, really like make a connection to. Believe it or not, as much as I love Figment, I couldn't get over his orange nails. And
why don't they have things like that for other food items, not just popcorn? Like, why don't they have a Tonga toast bucket?
Maybe they will. You just gave them an idea. Good job, Bruce.
Not sure if I'm happy about that or not. So what are you saying? Underrated?
Yeah. I think that look, when you're going to Disney, it's fun to buy souvenirs. For me, a souvenir that I can actually enjoy looking at and makes a special connection, it's always going to make its way home, and I'm always going to find the value into it. Now, waiting hours and hours to get one, probably I would say overrated in that sense. But if you're waiting, like, I don't know, what's a average time?
3 minutes.
A little more than 3 minutes.
7.
And let's call it 20.
20 minutes. No way.
That's fine.
I'm out.
Okay.
I'm waiting 20 minutes for a popcorn bucket. You crazy? All right, next question.
Okay.
This is a general question now. Table service restaurants in Disney World, are they overrated or underrated?
It's a good one.
Table service restaurants.
What say you, Bruce? I'd like to know because I know my answer.
I'm a restaurant guy.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
You are.
I am. It's my background. It's what I've done my whole life, work in restaurants and things like that. So I'm used to restaurants.
Okay.
So for me, they're vastly overrated. Only because of the price that it costs to go to these restaurants in.
This is where I miss the dining plan because you never would even see it.
Right?
You would never even see how much
I'm not saying they're not good, and I'm not saying that I don't go. Right. But I think certain table service restaurants are very overrated. Okay. Now, I know you pay for the experience and you pay for the location, and that goes into the overall dining experience, but I don't think you get what you pay for all the time.
Okay.
Except for Liberty Tree Tavern. Underrated.
Or sci-fi.
Sci-fi, that one's good.
Prime time.
Listen, I just said they're not all overrated.
Garden Grill.
But if you had to stick it to me and say, hey.
I'm sticking it to you
Stick it
right
to
now.
me right now and say, overall, table service restaurants, I think they're a little bit overrated.
Ohana. I mean, I could go on and on.
Listen, they're just expensive.
Okay,
I'm not saying that they're not good. I'm just saying that they're overrated. So you're saying they're underrated if I gather your thoughts here.
So here's the thing. I think that, first of all, I think I've said this a lot. Like, I cannot go to Hollywood Studios without visiting the Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater. It just makes my experience that much more better, and I love...
Much more better.
And much more better. I think the food is overrated everywhere. I think that there's not really some... I guess even the Liberty Tree Tavern, like, we've talked about that a lot, and the food's good. It's not out of this world. You're not going to a specific restaurant for the actual meal, I think.
Well, I think what makes Liberty Tree Tavern a little different, at least for me, is that you get as much as you want to eat.
More. Another.
So as much as it is filling and you can't eat as much as you think you can,
Yeah.
you do get that option.
I quote movies so much.
I know we both do.
It's like a disorder.
I hope people actually get what we're saying and they don't just think we're saying some random statement.
Oh, I think they think we're saying random statements.
We should, on the video on YouTube. By the way, go subscribe to our YouTube channel and our other podcast, UTM TV.
So much to do.
That's right.
Sorry, guys.
We should put on the video like where that quote comes from.
Gotcha.
Whenever we say a movie quote, it should be like a clip in there. So
It's
they know
not
what we're
always
talking about.
Disney Marvel, too.
No, it's not.
It's a little everywhere.
A little bit of everything.
Okay, so where were we?
I'm saying table service restaurants, overrated. If I have to pick, overrated.
I'm saying underrated in the sense of I think it enhances your park day. I think you need to take a moment to decompress. It's really nice having a cast member serve you food and you don't have to think. You don't have to carry a tray. Usually, I don't know if this is for everybody, but usually like our kids tend to act a little bit nicer to each other because they know that there's somebody else watching them, which is like the cast member serving the food that comes around. They can't like be yelling at it. So it's like a timeout for mom. And I like that. And I think that all in all, you're not going to find, at least in our area, such a great, unique themed restaurant as well. So to me, I think in that reason, they're underrated.
Except for the fact that a 10-year-old's an adult.
Except for that. But
So-
they don't have to. They can still.
No, not at sit down. So I think quick service restaurants are underrated. Table service restaurants, overrated.
See, I think that falls on our shoulders is like you can check out and take a break from the kids when they're being cranky.
I often do.
And I can't. I need like that little bit of
That's your own
pampering.
fault.
That is my own fault.
You got to pull the old, hey, what's
I
that over there?
like to be served. I don't want to carry people's trash back out. I mean, they're old enough to do it on their own now, but they don't. They're still kids and they don't do it well. So you're gonna have to remind them, and you don't have to do that in a restaurant.
Time to let go, lady.
Couldn't do this without you.
We recently just did a Patreon live show, and the video is up for the replay. If you want to join, you get to go see that. The audio will be coming out soon. And then I think next week or the week after, we're going to be doing the Patreon Member of the Month.
That's so fun.
Get to join us for a podcast inside Patreon. We pick one member every single month to join us at random. As long as you want to do it. You don't have to do it, but if you want to join us for a podcast, there's your chance.
I would be so excited if like one of my favorite podcasts, I could do that.
You
That
could
was a
join.
tier.
Yeah, I would.
Can you Google and see if there's a tier on
imagine like that would be
Star
cool.
Talk?
I might do that actually and check it out for you.
I don't know what I would ask, but
But that's going to do it for us today. Hit us up on Instagram, Unlocking the Magic Podcast, and we'll see you next time.
bye everybody.
See ya.